Before you start any electrical work, make sure to disconnect that battery. I needed to find the short to grounds on the wire harness for the lights. A short to ground is where the positive wire is grounding out to the chassis or piece of metal. It happens from age and from rubbing on something and the insulation rips off. So I took the fenders off, and then here I am looking for all the short to grounds, so I decided to just go through that whole wire harness from where the lights start under the hood all the way around from the driver's side to the passenger side. So as I was going through everything to fix the two that I knew was there, I found that the plastic surrounding case, I think it's called conduit, sorry if that's wrong, was so brittle that it was just falling apart. So I decided to just go ahead and take it off preemptively and replace it with new conduit. You really want to do that because as much rubbing and vibration that you're going to have throughout the time you own your Skoolie or your vehicle or whatever you're doing this on, it's eventually going to find something to rub on, and so that's going to protect it so you don't have to do the work all over again, at least for a while. I could tell by the damage to this hard plastic piece here that there was going to be damage to the wires underneath it. It was looked like something had been rubbing on it or something hit it quite a while ago, and so I took it off and took everything apart underneath it, and sure enough there was live wires exposed under there. So basically all I'm doing is I'm taking the wrapping off, and wherever I see there's damage and exposed wires, and I'm just putting butt connectors in and cutting out the piece that's exposed. A lot of times when you're doing this, you'll find that the wire has turned black, like these, you can see the black. I've gotten some of the black off and exposed the copper on the tips, but you want to try to use sandpaper or something like that to clean off those wires if you're not going to replace the whole wire. I usually replace the entire wire when it's been blackened like that, because that black will go all the way through the entire wire, but right now I don't have the means or the finances to replace that entire wire and harness. So for right now I'm just going to cut out the piece that is damaged and then use sandpaper to expose the copper, and then butt connector it back together, then heat shrink it, and then wrap it in electrical tape, and then put plastic conduit around it to try to protect it. Later, some other day, when I have more money for that much wire, because we're talking 20 feet of wire, so that's going to need to be replaced. It is pretty important to go ahead and replace the entire wire. So my heat gun just broke earlier the day before, so I'm having to use a lighter to do the heat shrink, which sucks because any little bit of wind is going to blow that flame around, and it's hard to get the heat shrink to cooperate the way it's supposed to. The heat shrink I'm using right now has a glue and weatherproofing on the inside that melts and surrounds the wire to make sure that no water can get into your connectors and whatnot. So that being the case, it needs to be a little hotter than normal heat shrink. There's a good example of more blackened wire. It's pretty typical when a wire's been grounded out to see that blackened wire. You want to replace that entire wire, so I'm not setting a very good example right now, but like I said, I don't have the means or the finances to do the whole wire this month, but hopefully next month I can come back and replace that whole harness. I'm just trying to get the lights back going and the hood back on and get on to the next leg of my trip as soon as possible.